Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Welcome to The Naked Truth, hosted by me, Lori Corrigan, and sponsored by Snake Charmer Men's Body Waxing. This show pays tribute to the valuable contributions men make both personally and professionally. It's a safe zone for guys to speak their minds amidst the current social climate where they struggle to be heard. Today's show begs the question, is the word mechanic politically correct these days? Does grease monkey fully describe a trade skill that mirrors attributes of a human physician, but whose patients are made of crankshafts and motor mounts instead of vital organs and bones? For decades, Mike Nowicki has challenged one of society's most deeply rooted stereotypes and built a well-respected reputation in the Valley's auto repair and service industry. Joining Mike is Karen Nowicki, owner of Phoenix Business Radio X, where we're broadcasting today. Not only is Karen a trusted advisor to business owners, senior executives, and educational leaders, but she's also Mike's wife. Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
Welcome to the both of you. Thanks so much for being on the numero uno show of The Naked Truth.
Thank you. I feel I'm overdressed.
Well, because it's The Naked Truth?
Yes.
Now that would be a show, wouldn't it?
I think I'm going to plan that right now.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks for having us. This is a lot of fun. And congratulations on the launch of The Naked Truth. We're very, very happy to be hosting your radio show and podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity very much. So, Mike, you helped dealerships and mom and pop businesses ramp up their reputation through you and what your work ethic is. And then just a few years ago, you decided it was time to put your name on that moniker. How did that happen?
The short of it is I got tired of people being ripped off blatantly. I don't believe every single customer that comes into a shop needs $700 worth of work on their car. And that's the biggest problem that we have in our, what am I looking for? Our industry today. Everything is in numbers. People don't look at you as a person. They look at you as a dollar sign. They see your car and think, we're going to do this, and this. It's not right. I have no problem with the customer coming into my door and leaving with just an oil change. It's just the way it is. And unfortunately, I ran into that on too many occasions where they need a brake job, but they still have 50% left. Yeah, but next oil change, they're going to need it and they'll go somewhere else. That's too bad.
Is it either or? Is it your end of the spectrum or the ones who are out there to screw people over? Is there any middle ground?
Oh, I'm sure there is. Of course there is. You have to be. But the ones that are way out there on thing are the ones that are hurting our business. Mm-hmm. There are people out there like me. Unfortunately, not a lot, but there are too many who are over the top.
And that's what we as consumers are trained on. So when you enter the picture and you hand them a bill with nothing else or an estimate, nothing else besides that oil change, and they're looking at it, they're looking at you saying, are you sure there's nothing else wrong?
I get that quite a bit. I get, are you sure? And I'll write down on their ticket what they're going to need in the future. But the way I look at it is they drove their car into my shop. If they drove it there, they can drive it home. There's too many times you get people, oh, you can't drive this car. How did you make it here? Come on, give me a break. That's not the way things are. So basically, it's if you need something today, we need to get it done. But if there's something that can wait, because not everybody, including myself, even though I'm a business owner, if somebody came to me right now and said, you need a transmission, it's going to be $1,500. I can't do it. I'm going to have to either leave the car there or wait until I can.
You mean financially?
Financially.
You could
Correct.
do it. You could do the service for them. But we, as a married couple,
Right.
if someone said that to us, we couldn't pay for it right away. That's the point he's making.
I don't want to put it on a credit card. I don't want to do that. And that's the thing that you have to think about. These people in the long run or doing these credit cards that go through companies, I don't want to do that to somebody. They're paying 23% on something. Most of the time, if somebody needs something major and they can't afford it, I will work with them. I'll tell them if they can put half down, they can pay me the rest of it in 2 weeks.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And it's not good for me to do that, but I also know it's helping people.
So you have both a work ethic and a moral compass, and they're very finely tuned.
I try
That's
to do
a
what I can do.
beautiful way to explain
Thank
this.
you. But I
wonderful
also
man.
I also have two incredible guys working for me
Yeah.
who will never ever do something that doesn't need to be done. I have Eric, who's been with me from the start, but I've known Eric for 8 years, and we worked together at another place. He is more honest than I am. I mean, seriously, he won't do anything that doesn't need to be done. He's fabulous. And then our other employee is Chad, who's equally. I mean, I found two guys that are in the same as me. They won't do anything that doesn't need to be done. And
How long did it take you to vet them, find them?
well, Eric, I found when I was at another company, and we've been friends ever since. And the minute I found him, I knew who he was.
And Mike always said back then, without an idea to open his own shop, that if he ever did, Eric would have to be part of that family, part of that program.
And Eric is part of the family. I mean, we love him. You know, he's been to the house. I mean, our son Ivan adores him.
Yeah, great
And
man, great guy.
He's great. And Chad, the same way. I mean, I have two excellent guys working for me, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
And to answer Lori's question, how long did it take you to find Chad? We had opened the shop with another mechanic who unfortunately has since passed away, but he left us
To find a better job.
to find a better job. And
He had a better opportunity, which I told him, don't pass up an
Yep.
opportunity. So he did.
And how did Chad found you? Because you put an ad out?
Because Eric broke his leg.
Right. I know that. Right. Yeah. Thanks, Eric. Eric was out for a bit and Mike's like, what am I going to do?
didn't know what I
I've
was
only
gonna
got
do.
one mechanic. But did someone recommend Chad? I don't remember.
One of my parts
Yeah.
salesmen recommended Chad, and he came, talked to him. 15 minutes later, I gave him a key and said, "You're hired."
That was it.
Yeah, it didn't take long.
Wow.
He was
Great guy.
pretty
The energy must have been just...
He was great to begin with. Yeah.
Okay, so you've already told me what sets you apart from other businesses. I know I've had to personally, not here in Phoenix, but in Las Vegas, take two different companies to small claims court because they did things that weren't warranted. And one of them messed up my car big time, put the wrong motor mounts on, knew it all, fought me the whole way, got to small claims court. The judge says to them, why are you doing this? Why do you do this to the consumer? And sorry, judge. And the judgment was for me. I still had to pay an attorney to send a demand letter 2 months later because he wasn't paying me back. There's no checks and balances in your industry, correct? There are no secret shoppers because as an independent, you don't have anyone to answer to. Are there more independents than there are corporate run? Do you have an idea?
No, there's a lot. If you go on every corner, I mean, there's a Sun Devil, a Firestone, a Grulux. There's a lot, and they've been around for a long time for a reason.
Because of volume.
Yes.
That's not necessarily the best business practice, right? In every industry. I know, I see.
It
you
depends
wanna
on
say
what your
something.
goal is, I think,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I mean, I didn't do this so I can retire in 5 years and become rich. And that's something, Karen. I mean, I'm not into it to become rich. I'm into it because I want to make sure that people are taken care of. Seriously. And people realize that. They know that. I don't care about, and I need to because it's going to only hurt me, but I don't care about that bottom line. I want to make sure at the end of the day, the people who leave say thank you and they're coming back. The best thing for me is when someone says, I'm going to tell my neighbor about you, or I'm going to tell my coworker about you. And that's what has happened. I don't do any marketing. I don't do anything like that. It's all word of mouth. And we have a Facebook page and we have the Nextdoor app, the neighbor thing. Those are our two biggest things besides
Taking care of
people coming from other places and getting estimates and finding out with us still making money, we're half sometimes of what the other estimates are.
Once they've trusted you, once they would be willing to pay a little bit more because they know what that final product is going to be, both emotionally and with their car. Because that's an emotional experience when you go and leave your baby there and you don't know, with the stings you've seen on TV, setting it up, changing the transmission, right? Before, your tranny's almost gone. You need to do it again. You're just in there. You're doing the right thing. the light's shining on you because people are referring you. So you are 100% referral business.
Right.
Wow.
Correct. And I have two guys who are the offset, the check and balance together, that they will not do anything that's not needed. I mean, we have customers that come in actually and tell us, I need this from another place. And Chad and Eric will say, no, you don't. And sometimes we'll have to show them, tell them, you don't.
See, we're trained.
This is what you need. You don't need all this other stuff. You know, one of our customers came in and I've had her and I ended up gaining her and the rest of her family. She came from another place down south and she came in with, she needed an air filter, a cabin filter, and 2 belts on her Nissan. They quoted her at a shop $520. I couldn't have given her a lifetime warranty and charged her $520 for what she needed. It was $128 for everything she needed.
With your labor.
With everything. So there's no possible way, I mean, where they came up with it. And I gained her and her family and the people out in her community because of that. And
by doing the right thing.
Well,
it comes down to.
Yeah, and it's not even the right thing. Yeah, right. It's just being a person. I mean,
operating it above board.
Yeah.
Mike's a great mechanic. Mike is also really great around taking care of customers. I might also say that he's not the greatest businessman because he cares so deeply, right? And that's
You're right.
And we have conversations a lot at home. I mean, I run my business very similar, obviously, with a studio. I want to love on people. I want to care for them. I want to give them a top rate experience. And I also know that conscious capitalism is it's more than an okay thing. And so I'm bringing Mike along for the ride as well.
And so we're 3 peas in a pod because as a men's body waxer, my last thought is hand over the cash.
Right.
It's a psychological warfare in there at the beginning with so many things you guys worry about. I want them to walk out saying these magic words, wow, that was so much better than I anticipated. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're all willing to give of ourselves and our resources, which gets us where we are all today, which is in a really good spot. As independent business owners, I'm not great at it either. I want to engage with the client, with the customer, long before having to figure out how to market. That's someone else's specialty. Let them do that. You don't even need it. So now, Karen, since you're sitting over there grinning at me,
smiling,
you both opened your businesses within 8 months of each other. Oh, this is a powerful question. What sacrifices did you have to make in order to do this successfully?
Wow. So I'm seeing dollar signs in my mind so we both started. I had sold a company previous to Mike opening the shop. And that was really the catalyst for us. He had it with some of these other opportunities. If I could back up a second, when somebody asks me like what led Mike to open a shop, the way that I've always shared it is Mike is the first guy that you want to hire as your service manager. Every time Mike would go in, and he's had a handful of opportunities to work for these other shops throughout the years that we've been together, 15 years now, he'd walk into the shop, he'd do the interview, and you can see just who he is. You want to hire him. You know he's loyal. You know he's going to take great care of your customers. He's going to make sure he parcels out the work to the mechanics just right. And you're going to have, as a shop owner, the dream for many of these, mostly men, the dream of getting to be out of the shop finally because you found somebody who can run it, trust it, and care for it like you do. So you hire him on the spot. You're excited about him. I'll use the word with air quotes, partner with him. You're hiring him to do what you need to do. But within 3 to 4 to 6 months, Mike's doing exactly what he said he would do, taking care of your customers, managing everything for you. He's doing an excellent job at all of the things that are required to run a shop. And now you're wanting to push him to do more, to fudge the numbers, to, get people to, and even though he told you in the interview he's not going to do that, you're now like, hey, wow, we love you. Our customers love you, maybe even too much, right? I'm going to use the word jealousy. He would never say that, but I will. And now they're, hey, now let's start hitting these numbers. And Mike's going to be honest and say, I won't play like that. I refuse to do that. So that was our catalyst, because quite honestly, when I sold my company, we did well, and it was an exciting time for Mike and I. He could have actually, you were thinking about going into another industry, like getting out of auto industry altogether, because it was this whole thing over and over and over again. And that's when we decided, well, what if you opened your own shop? Like, what if you wanted, ran your own place? And Mike had owned a business years before in Fountain and Ponds. And so he's had his own business before. So the sacrifice for us was really financially. We didn't take out any loans. I mean, small loans, but we didn't have anybody backing us. There's no, this is us. So the biggest sacrifice, I feel like, for the two of us, and actually three of us, because we have a little guy still at home, our other two are grown and gone. Our sacrifice has been financial. We made this commitment for Mike's shop, and then within 3 or 4 months, I was wanting to make a shift in what I was doing and who I was serving as well. And this business Radio X opportunity really kind of landed in my lap as a prayer and just a weird fluky opportunity, right? And we did it. So that meant we put ourselves even more out on the line financially. What would you say is our biggest sacrifice? I think time and money, right? We are so spread so thin right now, because I'm easily working 60, 70 hours a week, and we've got an 11-year-old at home. But also we're counting pennies. And I was at the T-Mobile store yesterday needing to get one of those hotspots. And I'm literally texting Mike standing there like, am I okay to use the debit card right now? And the gal's smiling at me. But you've gotten to know me, Lori. I'm very open and very vulnerable and candid about where we're at. Maybe Mike's not so much that way. But what would you say, sweetie, to answer Lori's question around our sacrifices, or yours specifically, having open businesses at the same time?
Well, same thing. I mean, we're just behind on some things, and some things fall. I mean, we're sacrificing.
But you're also keeping it together, because you're both sitting here.
We are. We're keeping it together as good as possible, and it'll get better. I mean, 2 years and a year and a half into business, things will start going after a while. We have enough clientele. Karen has enough people coming and calling her, and she's constantly working, all through all hours of the day and night. So there's people that are contacting her. So it'll be there.
What are you going to do when she runs for Congress?
She's never running for office, ever.
I think you said skip local. You go right to Congress.
No, I'm just not. Yeah, I know nothing about politics. I won't even pretend.
I do, but I wouldn't let her.
Yeah, actually, Michael's the one who is very savvy when it comes to that. But that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother episode or segment.
We could do a whole hour on political correctness,
but we won't.
Which is ruining our country.
Since Business Radio X is the some media leans left, some lean right, we lean business. We'll just keep it business today,
that.
Especially because our political views differ.
Oh, you guys need to come back as a couple again.
Then we could.
We're not that bad. Our I'm always on that side that doesn't go to the left. So. But
well, there's no wondering with you guys. You just do it differently.
Yes.
There's just an approach difference, but you still put it out there. So then the most rewarding compliment you've already said is to give a referral. Is there another? Does anyone? I can see me. I would go up and hug you.
I get a lot of hugs.
Are you? You're a hugger too?
I do. I get a lot of hugs.
Are you Italian?
Polish and Italian.
Yeah. Well, Italian and German over here.
Yeah. And then I have to check my lineage. That seems to be the thing to do these days.
Yeah. Have you done that yet?
No. The thing, I just don't have a lot of confidence in it, because did it for 2 dogs, and a Chihuahua came back having Great Dane.
And you thought it was a full-bred Chihuahua?
Well, a Chihuahua and a Great Dane?
No, I get that, but I mean...
But yeah, most dogs are going to be...
the Taco Bell dog.
Oh, man, that was quick. That was quick.
That's not right.
No, that sounds not right with that. So you don't have a lot of faith in it.
Is this what you get at home?
It is. Honestly, he keeps me laughing. It's always a surprise, not always good ones. Just kidding.
So your hackles are up, wondering, okay, what's he got?
Sometimes, we have a lot of fun. I was married for, I don't even know how many years, but for 15 years previously. And Mike and I have been married together just as long. And it's a completely different picture. Like, I never knew that love and marriage could be this exciting and this far into it.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't that doesn't mean that we don't have our days where we're, yelling at each other.
Oh, yeah. Like we don't have a 2-story house. I'd toss you out that window some days. Just kidding.
You'd have a man cave downstairs. She'd have hers upstairs.
I have one. She's afraid to go in it.
He has his in the garage. It's this little room built out in the garage. And then my home office, it shares the wall on the other side, but mine's inside through the laundry room. But yeah, we know when we need our space, and we take
key.
it. Yeah,
that's very, very important.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, so now when you're away from work, how do you like to spend your time? I know that's probably not happening at the moment, but
right now
ideally,
it's all around baseball. Our son plays 4 nights a week right now. He's playing Little League and club ball, and we have tournaments. We have probably other weekend we have tournaments. So I coach his Little League. This will be the last year I do that. So right now it's just basically all around baseball for Ivan.
And I want to talk about Ivan. I want to have Ivan on the show.
Have you met him yet? I can't remember if you have. Yeah.
I want to have the pleasure of speaking with this young man who's
You think Mike's witty. Just wait till you meet our son.
Well, I see the things on Facebook you post. Yeah, he's a treasure. I can see that.
He's kept us alive and young. I couldn't imagine life without him. Not even Karen, but without Ivan, it's amazing.
Not even with Karen?
Without Karen.
Meaning with that, he couldn't imagine.
I couldn't imagine
without Karen.
I don't know where I'd be right now if I wasn't with Karen. So.
Oh, this is the nugget moment for worth repeating.
Yeah.
Then baseball. Do you and Ivan go to spring training games? Have you been there these last couple of weeks?
Yep. We went to we're Milwaukee Brewer fans. And we went to the Brewer game against the team from Chicago. So we had fun there. We went to opening day there. And then the next week we went, Karen and I, and our oldest daughter, Madison, Ivan, my sister, and 2 of her friends, and another friend went to the Brewer game against the Angels.
I see a trend here. What's wrong with the Dodgers?
They're from L.A.? No.
I think we're done here. Thank you.
And out. Cue outro
They
music.
beat the Brewers last year.
Sorry.
That's all right. No, I've always been a Milwaukee Brewer fan. Basically, if it comes to that, all sports, I'm pretty much Wisconsin-based. That's my teams.
And you're from?
Wisconsin.
Oh, that makes sense.
Been here 20 years.
Okay.
He's the guy with the MLB tattoo on his calf. He is all things baseball and always has been. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, then we can talk a whole nother show about that too. And I'll even cut you. And there's your tattoo.
Giving Lori a leg shot. That's funny. Yeah.
Well, go ahead. No,
I was just going to say when it's not when Mike's not working, he's checking out scores and reading the magazines about baseball and football and talking to Ivan about sports. We all like to play board games as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you like to lay out your...
Oh, yeah. So Lori, that's so funny that you said that. So when Lori and I first met, and for our listeners, Lori and I met at a LinkedIn local event at Galvanize. It's been
a year and a half.
And we just hit it off right away and became fast friends. But one of the things once we were acquainted on social media, you'll remember we laid out clothes. And I took a picture one time. We do it every once in a while, but we lay out pajamas.
Oh, on the weekend.
Yeah. So when Mike gets home, he walks in the door. Yep, on the floor. You walk in and you'll see slippers laid out and pajama bottoms and a sweatshirt and some games. So Ivan and I would do that. And it's almost as if there's Mike's silhouette and then my silhouette and Ivan's silhouette with our clothes ready to jump in and get cozy with some board games and that sort of thing. So Lori will never forget that. She's asked me when am I going to see that one again? So the next time we do it, we'll need to.
When we have time.
Yes.
Well, yesterday, so one of the perks of being in business for ourselves, even though I work insane hours, I get to kind of pick and choose, right? So yesterday, it's a spring break for Ivan. So today is Friday, and we are headed to a tournament in Peoria after your second show. And, not everybody gets to take a Friday afternoon off, but we're going to make it work. Thanks again to Eric and Chad.
Absolutely.
And we'll be there, and thanks to our families who are getting our son to the game for us before we can arrive. But yesterday morning, I didn't have a show until 1, and so Ivan and I got up and we pulled weeds in the backyard, and we played 2 board games in the back, sitting at the patio, and I got to leisurely get into the day. I left him a list of things that he needed to do when I was gone, and he took care of it. But it's nice because we have that ability to flex and,
Yes.
and create a lifestyle, which, again, I think it's a long game, right? To go back to our point earlier about being independent business owners, when we're not as concerned about the dollar sign, and we are deeply rooted in a passion-driven business, which all three of us are, maybe the financial gain or reward isn't there up front as quickly as some businesses, but we know it's a long-term opportunity, and the legacy is in that.
And that's what our eye in the prize is.
Yep.
I can't even imagine the pressure people put themselves under to achieve largely a premature number, because they're pushing themselves in directions that feel so unnatural. And we're following the heart, which might be cheesy, but there is heart in business. It's just exorcised a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Not exercise, but it's yeah. So looking back, what would you tell your 16-year-old self? How would your life be different, or would it be the same?
Put that beer down.
I don't have a beer.
That's what I would have told myself at 16,
With all
unfortunately.
sincerity.
Unfortunately.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was more worried about that kind of stuff, having fun, instead of sticking to playing ball and doing what I did, which was mediocre, or just surviving and being one of the guys where I could have probably done better. Something like that. I didn't really have I loved playing ball, and I liked playing poker and drinking beer. But what do you do in Wisconsin? That's the sad part about it.
Especially in the winter.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I had some good buddies I grew up with. We had fun. And to this day, I still think about all the fun we had. But there are things like, I was always one quick to say the hell with it and walk away from something if I didn't like the way it was going. Went to school thought I was going to be a gym teacher, phy ed teacher, and in college. And then when I realized you had to dance and do dance classes and stuff like that is your thing, switched. I became a history major, which to be a teacher, but then there were other things, I didn't want to do a speech class. So I stopped like an idiot. What can you say?
Those are the lessons we all learn.
You can't turn the clock back, but I also say too, anything I would have changed might not bring me where I am right now.
Oh, any one little teeny,
And that's
seemingly,
the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have Karen, I wouldn't have Ivan, and I wouldn't be sitting in front of you. So
the road we travel, I often think about this in the wee hours of the night when my brain is too busy to let me sleep. That if we
you
had
get that too?
Wait, isn't there an age point where you just don't sleep anymore?
No, it's 2:37 every morning. It seems, seriously.
Really?
Boom. Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to suggest anything illegal for you to take, but there are things we can talk about afterward to help you get some sleep.
I'm fine. I can get some sleep.
We have a roadmap of the choices we made when there were options available, which there are always options, but we don't always see them. If we could see where this left turn instead of the right turn would have taken us, the time travel machine, I really hope it's never, ever a reality, because we're going to go back there and change what we already know.
Always remember, never turn to the left, ever. Don't ever go left.
In anything, in any situation. You snuck that in, you sticker.
I did.
He was waiting. He was calculating and waiting for the moment.
Mike, thank you so much for showing up today.
Are we done already?
Yeah,
I do believe we are, unless you have some other secrets.
Yeah, he's like, wow, that was easy. Let me make it harder.
No.
Do you have a question or an issue or a topic?
No, I think it's fabulous what you do. Like I said, I showed you, I don't have any hair on myself, so.
That was the first thing he screamed at me as he had the cross in front of him.
No.
Yeah. No.
I'll find some hairy guys for you and send them over.
I gave you a flask, and you're going to give me clients.
I am.
Yeah, see, that's the magic of Business Radio X right there.
Awesome.
If we are done, quiz and Mike, I would love to ask you, if you don't mind, if I turn it on you a little bit, and I know you'll do your sponsor information, but what the purpose of the show? Let's go back to your introduction, where you're really talking about the naked truth. We talked a little bit about the sacrifices and that sort of thing. One of the things you shared with me when you talked about starting your own program was this idea that men are right now in today's society, we are not appreciating them in the ways that you feel like we ought to be. So are you comfortable speaking to that a little bit as it relates to the whole purpose of the Naked Truth?
Sure. Just a bit of frustration with, as in so many situations, that handful in a group doing things improperly or harmfully. It casts a bad light over everybody. So we're talking about, for example, and not only the Me Too situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very tough thing. Yeah.
Yes.
You got to tiptoe around it because.
Well, look at the offshoots of it. Just one thing is very vocally, a lot of industries are backing down on hiring women because they do not want to set themselves up for any kind of potential just maybes. Not that it would ever happen. It's just, it's become a little bit too easy to accuse, and not enough is done to vet before all of that hits media. You're assassinated as soon as your name hits, and this person did that. I have no proof, but this person did that. And then it takes forever to figure out that person didn't do that. This other person who accused had a vendetta.
Right. And
but
by
the
the
damage
time
has already been
it's
done.
already damage done. I mean, we went through that with our Supreme Court. We went through that with poor Morgan Freeman. We went through that with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and turns out that it's a very touchy subject because you can't, you have to be compassionate to the ladies. You
Absolutely.
have to be. You have to. But on the other hand, you have to give the accused a little bit of a leeway to find out, is it true or not?
And
because it's too simple for somebody in the fact to say, you know, like if I call you sweetie, or, you know, just in a term
or the hugs when you're
a term of endearment, which is something that's just how I've been my whole entire life.
When did a hug become
right?
You can tell when it's perverted, inappropriate, and this is okay. So linking it to men's body waxing, it was what someone said to me on the table one time that just said, enough of this baloney. Leading up to it, I talked to the guys who come in to get waxed and say, where are you with this? This is not discounting those ladies who actually did have situations, but there will be a number of others in a given situation, circumstances, who will say, if I say this, then this will happen. And I get the benefit of the doubt, and he has to. And these guys are telling me they are not getting massages anymore because now, well, in my industry, guys get kicked out when their bodies do what bodies will do in a sensory way.
Correct. I know what
right?
you're saying, yes.
So what I do by waxing mostly men's Brazilians, it's the same thing. It's a sensory stimulation that the guys don't want there, but you have no control over that.
There is, right.
No,
you can't.
You can't not sweat when you're hot. Right. It's the same thing.
Right.
So that's what I say. And they go, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This is very deep rooted. This is who we are. We are sensory beings. And so a lot of waxers will kick men out. They don't understand physiology, or they just are really uncomfortable, so they shouldn't offer the service.
Right. It's not a sexual arousal thing. It's just the way a body functions.
And the body has the same response.
Correct.
And unfortunately, right, just to make sure that we're sharing the opposite of this, there are cases, and have been some very recently in our community, where a man has taken it too far.
Correct.
And made a sexual advance.
Yes.
And so, to your point, and the whole point of the Naked Truth and our show, your show, hello, I'm kind of part of it.
You are very much.
is really just to be able to, how do we protect people, individuals, men, women, everybody, when our society is so PC right now and so concerned and worried and lumping everybody into these titles and these roles, right?
And that's the thing. The PC, as you know, and my thoughts on it, are killing us. It really is. But also the other thing that you look at is the social media aspect is very good. There's no doubt about it. It helps everything. But the minute something happens, you're texting your friend or somebody
Putting it
that
on
this just happened. And then it's like, oh, you got to tell somebody about this, blah, blah, without even really knowing what really happened. The guy could be, and the guy might even be oblivious to it all. You know, oh, he hugged me or he touched me or this happened when he was laying on the thing. It had nothing to do with anything towards you per se, but they take it the wrong way. And then you get other people who want to tell you that you need to take it this way or you need to do this. That's the problem too.
And instead of just taking care of that one person who did the offensive behavior or comment, this is what happens. Everybody is on lockdown. Policy changes. Nobody can have any relationships because what's the right word you can say? And this is, guys are telling me too, they walk down the street, they will not make eye contact with a woman because that woman, they don't know that woman. She doesn't know him. She could go call the cops. This guy just walked by me and grabbed my ass as he was going. That's allowed on here, right?
Yes,
and the
is.
F-bomb is too when I feel like it.
Whenever.
Okay, freedom is lovely.
Not AM, FM radio, it's internet radio. Yes.
So, okay.
Yes,
Short of
so-
it and back to your question.
Yeah. So kudos to you for taking an opportunity to have this platform to share not only about what you do professionally, but also to give back to the community and all the great men and women who are part of it. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun as you continue to grow in your studio hosting and sponsorship. And I'm thrilled that you invited Mike and I both to be your first guests. And you're back on at 1:00 too with another fantastic guest.
I am. He's an up and coming pillar of the Chandler community.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity to give so many people so many beautiful voices and to open up worldview a bit.
Yeah. It's my honor. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And good luck to you.
Thank
And
you.
I wouldn't put one of these on my head either if I had a great hair like you.
Which is why she doesn't wear a headset.
I would.
breaks though. See, it breaks. There's too much product on
I
it.
like it. It looks like me in the 80s. It looks great.
No, although
back
he
and
had
cool.
he had the what do you call that? The mullet coming
Oh,
down the back.
No.
Oh,
I need to
yes.
see pictures.
I have one in my wallet. I'll show it to you when we're done.
I have one right here. I'll show you. I'm
All
proud
right.
of it.
Let's have a word from our sponsor as we close out the show. Lori, great job today. This was a lot of fun.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
Our sponsor, Snake Charmer Men's Body Waxing, says that thanks to Steve Carell's 40-year-old virgin, the social stigma of men's body waxing holds you gentlemen hostage, keeping you from enjoying this game-changing hack. There's a reason why so few waxing studios offer men's services, and many that do shouldn't. Bottom line is Snake Charmer Men's Body Waxing is not the norm, which means a much better experience for you. Not only are you within a 100% physical and emotional safe zone, but you're also the focus instead of an afterthought. Head over to the website where you can watch how a men's Brazilian wax is done from start to finish. snakecharmeraz.com.